Sandman is back, and hopefully he can deliver us a really good comedy film with this, because in recent years it has not been paying out very well for him in that side of things. So maybe going back to an original character like Happy can bring us all back to the glory days of what Adam Sandler could really bring, or he'll just keep on doing the same thing that he's always been doing for the past 20 to 25 years, as sure seems like that. Happy Gilmore 2 is directed by Kyle Newacheck and written once again by Tim Herlihy and Adam Sandler. The film stars Adam Sandler, Julia Bowen, Christopher McDonald, Benny Safdie, Bad Bunny, and Ben Stiller. According to Wikipedia's premise, 29 years after winning his first tour championship, retired golfer Happy Gilmore returns to the sport to pay for his daughter Deanna's ballet school. Real quick, the reason why I am using Wikipedia's premise, and I know it's already been changed, it has the entire plot in it. Before that was changed, I used the premise for the film's plot synopsis with this because IMDb's was terrible. I was gonna use it, but thankfully I decided to change it to this because this felt much better than what IMDb gave me, and hopefully it can give me something better next time. On with the video. If you saw my review for Happy Gilmore, it's a really enjoyable, fun time watching Adam Sandler. Even though it was early in his career, he is still a really funny guy in that film. That movie is hilarious. It is still possibly one of the most memorable Adam Sandler comedy movies to this date. Since that film, unfortunately, Sandler has had a hard time bouncing back to those heights. Though he has dabbled into some drama films that has garnered him acclaim, like something like Punch Drunk Love, Meyerowitz Story, or Uncut Gems, the latter in which I think is probably his best performance ever in his entire career. His usual comedy films just haven't been hitting the same stride as they once did. Aside from something like The Water Boys, or I'll even throw in Click, I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't mind that film, or The Longest Yard, there's always an 8 Crazy Nights, Jack and Jill, that's my boy. The Grumps films, while I do have kind of a soft spot for that because it's a guilty pleasure, I don't think that they're really amazing comedy movies at all. They're just dumb, stupid movies. The Ridiculous Six, and etc. The list can go on and on. But the point is, Sandler has just been in a very huge slump. It still brings people to go see his films. I mean, I'm not denying that he has his loyal fans. He has people who go and see his movies and still probably enjoys it, even the bad ones. But I'm just telling you, I just don't think that nothing has hit the same way as Sandler once had with his earlier work. So, with him returning to Happy after almost 30 years, people, it has been 30 years since the first movie. We are doing this. We are making a sequel to a movie that is now almost 30 years ago. Maybe the Sandman can finally hit back again, and hopefully Adam Sandler can really bring out the laughs. But in the case of this sequel, to me, I just have to say, wow, it really missed. I mean, it curved. It went into, like, as soon as the ball hit, you think it's gonna go straight. No, it just curves into the woods and then into a pond nearby. While there are a few bright spots, this was a sequel that just, in my eyes, to me, you guys, fumbled the bag. There are going to be people who probably enjoy this movie. I'm just telling you for myself, who was actually looking forward to this because, again, I like Abby Gilmore. I think also too, Adam Sandler can be a funny guy. I just wish this movie still didn't fall into the trappings that Adam Sandler nowadays does. And that's the most frustrating part. But before getting into my problems, here are the positives that I did see with it. The performances are fun. Sandler is still lovable and wacky as Happy, but makes him a little bit more mature. And I say a little. There are, of course, occasional times where he goes back into that old Happy where he's angry and rageful and has that cursed childish humor that he was best known for, and he can still deliver on that. And there are a couple of times where it does seem like he really wants to attempt to give Happy a little bit more of a maturity level that, of course, we never saw in the first movie, where he has dealt a bad hand. You see what he had to deal with, and the fallout of why he retired golfing. And you see him trying to climb his ranks back up and try to be the best that he once was. Christopher McDonald is still smug as Shooter, and Sandler and McDonald still got when together. When they are on screen with each other, it's always funny. It seems like Sandler and McDonald, they never lost touch. Nobody lost their touch. As much as like Julia Bowman, who of course I failed to mention in the first movie, she's fine. She's alright. She worked for Happy's love interest, but here I was generally surprised on how much they were really trying to give her an emotional arc with Happy and what happens there. It worked really well, and I just do think that everyone felt like they were back with what they were all those years ago. The writing is enjoyable. Once again, writers Herlihy and Sandler makes a script that does overall hit. While it can get a bit outlandish at certain points and very, very stupid at other times, it does succeed by the end. This was a script that I will say it was not as obnoxious or as, like I said, outlandish than Sandler's most recent projects. And so they did try their best with making it feel like how Adam Sandler was back in the 90s, and still making sure that they did update it to where, like, yeah, he's old, washed out, and trying to play into the idea of he's just a has been, and seeing how the world will react to him. And so I do think that Hurley and Sandler did the best with trying to come up with ways in which making Happy still be as funny and as crass as it can be. And like I said, there are times where it can get a little cringy. It still was funny to watch Sandler and the other people in this movie just work very well with what they had. The music is fun, while Ruber Gregson Williams' score is, if you ask me, forgettable. There's nothing really memorable about the score. The licensed music really helps it out. If there's one thing I like about both the Happy Gilmore movies, they just have music that just fits with what the movie is, and it just makes scenes a blast to watch when that happens, and it works very well in which what a movie like this is, which is a throwback to what Adam Sandler used to do, but still making sure that it's not too goofy or ridiculous with how the music plays. That said, it does not come close to being on par with the first film, and ultimately it's just landing in the water. It's in the pond, and it's hard to find because this movie just really tanks itself as the movie keeps on going. So here are the negatives. The direction is aimless. Director Kyle Newacheck struggles with balancing this being a sequel and just being a regular Sandler film, leading to it feeling lost and confused. Dennis Dugan knew how to make it an Adam Sandler movie, but also a comedy movie that can at least be funny for people who aren't like huge fans of Adam Sandler, and just had a fun, good vibes when on set. Here, while I do think that Kyle Newacheck probably was having fun and was making the set as lively as it can with everyone just having a good time, I just feel like as the movie goes on, it just kind of feels like it's lost in the shuffle with, does it want to be a sequel to Happy Gilmore, or is it just trying to be a regular Adam Sandler movie of today? Because it just seems like it's struggling with those two identities, that it feels really hard to separate them into their own thing. Because the problem is that with this being a sequel to Happy Gilmore, it has to also just be what Adam Sandler's films usually tend to be, and for me, it just lacks an identity in the long run. The story is sloppy. While the first half of the film actually works pretty well and had a good setup, I was getting along with it and was really getting a little bit invested with what this movie was going for. It quickly gets worse as it keeps going, becoming more and more ridiculous, especially by the end. The way in which this movie's final showdown happens is so dumb, is so over the top, ridiculous levels of what Adam Sandler does, especially nowadays, and it's just not really that interesting, and it just becomes sillier and wackier, and that's my problem that I have a lot of times with Adam Sandler, is that it's almost like he has to keep on making movies be as wackier and insane as him. And so because of that, he just makes the plot even more outrageous, especially involving what this new golf company is doing with players and how they're hitting their shots and making them farther, and that whole plot line just being so lazy and so ridiculously stupid that I just cannot help but feel like Adam Sandler of today just cannot let go of trying to be as big as him with regards to how his movies have to be, especially its plot. The visuals are dreadful. Any use of visual effects looks cheap and laughable. It pretty much becomes embarrassing. People, at the beginning of this movie, and I will just say this, there are flashback sequences to Happy when, like, during around the first movie, okay? Not like the first film, although this movie uses so much of the original film's clips that it becomes a point of, I should just go watch the first movie. But the visuals of trying to make Adam Sandler younger, or any explosion effect or graphics in this film, they look embarrassing, they look cheap, they don't look of good quality. It just honestly feels as if the movie just has effects that are just thrown in here just so that way they can hide how much they can't really go as big as they want to, but really they do. Like, the budget for this movie is insane that they just make it more cartoonish as it goes along, and because of that they have to use visual effects that just look like shit. They look bad. They look awful. Like, the effects look like something from the 90s. That's how bad they look, people. The pacing and runtime is too long. Scenes feel like they go on, and the story is being dragged out. With a runtime of 1 hour and 54 minutes, it shouldn't be near 2 hours. Why the hell is this near 2 hours? The first movie was an hour and 32 minutes. Perfect. Comedy movie does not need to be anything longer than that. With this movie being longer than it is, I'm just left wondering why. Why is this for a movie about a hockey turned golfer, or at least a sequel to that? It should not be anywhere near a 2 hour runtime. And the fact that they just keep on going with it, it's just dumb. It blows my mind that they honestly thought that that 2 hour runtime was worth it, because honestly, to me, that's crazy to even think a comedy movie should be that length at the slightest. The cameos are endless. Some cameos are fine, but it becomes really too much and really distracting. Feeling like Sandler just wanted everybody to be here than most of his other movies. Of course, he has to bring in his friends as usual, but the cameos in this movie, minus the golfers, okay, I will give credit. I am fine with the golfers being there because, of course, with this being centered on golf, of course it would make sense. So I'm not going to get angry about that. I think that's really cool. I think that's awesome. And I wouldn't mind some of the celebrity cameos if they weren't sticking out like a sore thumb. The villain is boring. Nothing about him is memorable or funny compared to Shooter McGavin. You can never top Shooter McGavin when it comes to Happy Gilmore, okay? For like a Adam Sandler villain, nothing can beat him. I'm sorry. He's just so good. Christopher McDonald, he is amazing. And Benny Safdie, I feel so bad for. This man is an amazing director. He's going to be having a film coming out this year in October. And while he can be enjoyable as an actor, I just don't understand why he chose to do this. Because again, him and his brother worked with him on Uncut Gems, an amazing, fantastic film. And I just don't think he was utilized all that well. In fact, I honestly think he was really boring in this movie, and he tries the best, but honestly, he's just nothing in this film that made me remotely laugh or as captivated as something like Shooter was. The production is too polished. Looking at the first compared to this one, this looks at times artificial, shiny, and at times awful. Like I said, the visual effects. The first movie had a $12 million budget. This movie has a $30 million budget. And sure, that's still cheap, sure. That's higher than the first movie. I honestly think that if they had restrict Adam Sandler, it would have made him be a little bit more creative. But instead, because he's Adam Sandler, because he has Happy Madison Productions, he can still make the movies that he wants to make. And I get it, that's cool. But you're then enabling him to do stuff that I just think don't help this movie out. And honestly, making the first movie look better than this film. Like, I look at the first movie, it looks still incredibly well made. For a movie that has $12 million budget, it's impressive. With this, I'm not really that impressed. As much as I like lower budget movies to be a thing nowadays, there are times where you need to know your limitations. And sometimes it just seems like he was given too much, but not in a way where he was creative. It just almost felt like he wanted to just utilize things that were just out of his reach and make it even more outrageous. As much as I want to be there with everybody, I really do. I want to be there with fans. I really, honest to God, you guys, I do. I just ended up being frustrated and baffled. I was just completely just stunned on how much this movie had me going in the beginning and just ultimately just sank to the bottom. It just could not help itself from being the usual Adam Sandler movies of today. And again, there are bright spots. There were times I was laughing, and that's the thing that frustrates me is that I was laughing at a good portion of some of the jokes in this movie. But the thing is that when you look at some of the other problems with this film, it just wasn't enough. As much as I want to laugh at this film and have a good time, I can't ignore some of the things that I see with this movie that some people may just ultimately like. And that's fine. I'm okay if people really like this movie. I'm not angry with anyone who goes and watch it and has a good time with it. I'm just saying for myself, I just would rather stick with the first film. I'd be okay if I just watched that first movie and nothing more. Because watching this, I just don't know what Adam Sandler's doing. I really don't, man. He's a hilarious guy, but even I have to question the man who brought this character to life. What are you doing? Why are we going as big as we need to? And knowing that you just can't do that, but okay. I'm gonna give Happy Gilmore to a 3 out of 10. It just wasn't good, you guys. I found myself really let down and disappointed by how much Adam Sandler just could not meet me in a way where he can satisfy me in the way I want to. But again, he's gonna be the Sandman. People will probably like this movie and pretty much have a good time with it. I wish I could be there. I really wish I could, but I can't ignore how I feel, and to me, it's kind of sad. That's the thing that hurts the most. So I will be soon doing a review for the Fantastic Four First Steps, and that is all of July afterwards. So yes, look forward to that review and other reviews coming soon.